Hello and good morning for another episode of Coffee and Compressed Air. Today I have Graeme. Graeme, can you do a quick introduction of yourself?
Yeah, I'm Graeme Middleton-Duff. I'm Managing Director of Smart Compressors and Equipment Limited. I've been in the business for nearly 40 years, or just over 40 years now. So that's who I am.
I always like to ask this question before we start. What did you want to be when you grew up? So when you were a child, what was your thought? Most
Um,
not compressed air.
I didn't really have a theme when I was younger. I just uh, did my own thing, really. I was quite into fixing things and looking at that sort of. So I mean,
Mhm.
quite good in that way in respect to things. So yeah, I didn't really have a job in question at the time, so I was just being me basically.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of fun just being present in that. Trying to
Yeah,
grow up so fast. I
yeah,
definitely wanna go back and be like, "Why was I in such a rush to
yeah,
to get out of my parents' house and do all these things?"
yeah,
Uh, so that's always interesting. Well, since you like fixing things, that kind of makes sense for where you are now.
yeah.
So how did you end up in the compressed air industry specifically? Like, what did that path look like?
Well, I left school in 1984, um, and I was going to go into college doing chartered surveying, but at the time there was a YTS scheme which was introduced in that era where you could go and train and be something, and you get money for it as well. It wasn't a great amount of money, but it was money in your back pocket. So I joined a youth training scheme in mechanical engineering, and
Okay.
it did basic things like fabrication, welding, uh, fitting, turning, milling, grinding, that sort of thing. And
Okay.
then in that time, it was like a group training, Radcliffe District group training group that run this sort of thing and trained you and sent you to college. I did my ONC in mechanical engineering whilst doing this training as well.
Oh.
And in the end, they sought to find you apprenticeships, uh, jobs to try and get into engineering. And
Mhm.
fortunately, I got an interview with IMI Fluid Air Compressors Limited, which is a compressor company. So that's how I was introduced into the compressor industry. Not through own fault of my own. It's just that I was lucky at getting a job and
Yeah.
they gave me an apprenticeship. And that's
Okay.
what I started milling blades in the van for the rotor slots, the vanes that came out. I was milling the blades, cast iron. Came
Okay.
home full of cast iron black stuff when I came home, but yeah, it was good. That's how I started. And then
Wow.
I eventually went to the machine shop and started turning, milling. Then I got the opportunity to go into the fitting shop, which is learning how to put the compressors together.
Mhm.
And then I went back into the machine shop doing CNC turning, uh, which is another interesting fact.
Mhm.
And then I got the opportunity to go in the drawing office in the company and learn how all went together, technical drawing, how it went together, how you draw it, looking at castings, how to cast them, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And I became engineering manager in year 2000. By the time the company stopped making vane compressors then and imported a screw from Turkey, actually, a screw compressor. So we started off with screw compressors, and that's basically the journey, how I started and where I'm still am now.
Wow. Okay, so you have very in-depth, detailed, live living experience.
Yeah, it was just how it went. It
Yeah.
wasn't planned or anything. It's just I got the opportunities and took them basically. So yeah,
I love it. So now I'm very curious to hop into, I mean, you kind of lived through all of this in compressed air. Just now with what you're doing, let's start here. What are you doing specifically now with your company?
well, we do a variety of things: purchasing, goods inward stores, sales, compressor sales, spare part sales, servicing. We're doing services on compressors, and also repairing also as well. So there's a variety of things. Not boring, different every day.
I believe that. So I'm curious now to what your day-to-day looks like when you're going into these facilities and just what you see and what are the, of course, most common opportunities that you see for compressed air systems.
Well, the main thing is that most businesses are not aware of compressed air, or they've got very little knowledge of what it is and what it does, where it's a major part of their business. If the compressor stops, the production stops. And that's when they start asking questions about compressed air. And it's usually down to silly things like maintenance, mainly, lack of maintenance. Obviously, it's worked hard and it's failed because it's not been looked after. So therefore, we get a call: compressor's broke. Can you come and fix it? And then we see all these things like oil leaks and air leaks, and that sort of thing. When was it last maintained? You go, I don't know. So you start a process of trying to fix things and put it right and put a schedule in the future that they can follow.
I see. So say you get this call, and what do you normally recommend? So you get there, and I know we've gone over a couple things, but what do you call what is it? The owner's weekly check. So what should they be doing so they don't maybe have to call you so often?
Well, it's very simple, really. In the end, it's their compressor. They own the compressor. I don't own it, so it's down to them to look after it, which they don't seem to get either. But first of all, you've got to health and safety first. You've got to isolate the machine, lock it off, and then simple things like check the oil level. Look inside the panel, take the panel off, see if there's any oil leaks in the bottom. Check the pre-filters are not dirty and full of blocked. You can remove them because that overheats the machine. Blow out the oil air cooler, because oil sucked in the machine through the fan, and debris and muck and dust and dirt gets blocked into the cooler. Check the conditions of the belts of the compressor. See if there's nothing flaking away, no belt dust everywhere, or the coupling's in good order. Also, air receiver maintenance as well. Usually they're full of water because no one drains them off, or they've not got an auto drain on the bottom. So just check that that's empty. And then, just general maintenance, make sure the compressor house is nice and tidy. There's nothing, because usually get treated like a shelf compressors. There's usually loads of debris on top, which it doesn't help, but that's what you find. Yeah.
So I'm curious. So these, like you mentioned, all the traps, the drains, oil, water separators. What actually happens when those get ignored? Like what's the cause of and effects here that you typically see?
Well, usually if drains are not worked, or they've not drained anything off, or there is a drain there, but it's not put to an oil water separator, which treats the oil condensate, because air's dragged in through the compressor at 1 atmosphere, and it's compressed to 7 or 8 or 10 times, and it's just like a sponge. You squeeze a sponge and the water will fall out, but that's got to be collected, and sometimes they don't deal with it properly. Just fills the air tank because it's not drained. Typically with a compressor as well, if the compressors run without looked after, the compressor will pass oil to a certain stage, and it'll get more and more if the separator gets blocked, and the oil just goes down the line, and the oil level in the compressor drops, and then causes overheat. Things like that.
Okay, so that's going to cause some major quality issues downstream, pretty much.
It's going to stop the compressor, and also it's going to contaminate things down the line. Yeah.
So if we switch gears a little bit, what about things running consistently? So, dryers are not switching anything off at night.
Yeah.
What kind of, and again, we'll say consequences for lack of better terms, would these business owners see by not doing these different habits?
Well, they're going to waste of energy, really. Going to see it in their electric bills at the end, which can be quite high nowadays because of current climate. But yeah, the compressor will just run. There's no production. There's nobody in the house, but it'll just run because air leaks and drains firing off. So eventually it'll just top the system up. So it'll just carry on running. And same with the dryer. The dryer will keep running. And sometimes there's airline filters built in. And on the controller on the dryer, it'll tell you it needs servicing, but it's just clock the time. It's not actually done any work. So it's just
Okay, I see.
expense in changing filters when they don't need to.
Interesting. So yeah, so some small habits there can make a big difference.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, of course, we are all seeing, I think, around the world, the increase in energy costs.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't already a big enough topic, it's getting a little more serious now, at least for the wallet.
Yeah.
What opportunities do you see there? And like, how big of an impact would things like you mentioned, the leaks, inefficient systems, like how big of an impact would that actually make if people, look into
Air leaks are a big thing for the energy. Not people understand about air leaks. They can hear something hissing in the background, but they don't know what it is. And then in turn, that's just running the compressor. So say like a 3mm hole in your system can be like 3 to 4 kilowatts of a compressor running, which can cost per annum between £1,000 to £2,000 per annum. GBP. Same with a 6mm hole, that's 11 kilowatt. So you're running an 11 kilowatt compressor for nothing without fixing your air leaks. So it's a big thing. When people understand, I always get this, someone asking me, oh, your compressor never stops. I said, right, well, it's designed to stop. If it pumps up to pressure and holds pressure, then it will stop. But if the pressure decreases, it will start the compressor again because it's topping your system up. So have you got any air leaks? And they go, no. It's all right. Just valve the compressor out of the tank. And then, oh, it stopped. So therefore, you've got air leaks down the line. Oh, all right. I'll go and have a look then. So that's how it happens, really. They can, there's no production and there's a 110 kilowatt in the corner just trundling away and there's nobody working. It's all feeding leaks. So it's a big expense in the end.
Yeah. So this is probably a tricky question, and I feel like I know the answer already, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Who is, I don't know, I don't want to say supposed to be responsible for this. Who should be responsible for this? Is it in-house maintenance teams or contract service providers or compressor providers? Like who's...
The compressor provider can only just advise, really, but it's down to the customer, really, to fix his leaks, because obviously he's not going to be able to do it, but he said, right, fix the leak. Can you fix it for me? So we go round and fix it for him. But obviously we're not there on site 24/7, where they're the business owner, they run the company, and they can see what's happening. They can hear the leaks. So therefore, they're not really aware of it. That's the thing, until someone points it out to them. So they can fix the leaks themselves if they've got the capabilities to do so. But yeah, it's a mixture of all, really. It's down to us as a provider to point it out to them and say, you've got an air leak here, we need to solve it. But not always they say, right, okay, because it's always an expense to solve it. So it's down to customer and his attitude and that sort of thing.
Yeah, interesting. And I guess it would depend on the size of the facility too, right? If they have
Yeah,
in-house, capabilities or even just bandwidth to do that.
yeah. The companies also an issue. Yeah, there's a length of pipe work and twists and turns and bends and everything. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a 3-year-old here.
It's okay.
He's painting some things right here next to me. So we are finally getting into summer weather.
Yeah,
That means hot weather. We just came out of cold weather.
yeah.
Uh, how much does that actually affect the compressed air systems? And is there something specific companies should do to prepare for either one?
Well, for hot weather, you get low density air, and that increases the temperature and cause overheat situations within the compressor and can trip your thermal shutdowns. So it's tripping for no reason. So the remedies is make sure that the area is well ventilated. There's nothing covering the compressor up or impeding its intake of air. Also, make sure all the filters are clean, the coolers are clean by blowing them out. That sort of thing, really. But in cold weather, it's the opposite effect. You get frozen pipes and frozen condensates, things like that. And also, the compressors, sometimes you have facility on the controllers to stop it until it gets to a certain temperature and it'll start working. So the idea behind that is make sure you've got a heater in the compressor house, or make sure it's warm.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a whole nother, depending where you are in the world, the extremes for the weather can add something else to the list.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, based on everything we've mentioned so far, you make it sound super easy, by the way, to just go.
Now, 40 years at it, it's that's why. But it's common sense, really. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, I think it would just be more making sure it gets added to the list of things because in manufacturing, there's,
Very simple things to do.
yeah. So, what is one thing? So, you have lots of experience. What is one thing that you wish every manufacturer or compressed air system owner, we'll call them that, knew before?
Well, just know about compressed air basically, and what the compressor does, and how it does it. You don't have to get into the complexity of fixing the machine, but obviously understand what a compressor is and what it does and what it does for your business. If it stops, how's that going to affect your business? Have you got any backup? That sort of thing. Which 9 times out of 10 they don't, and that's because of cost probably. They're simple. Make sure your maintenance is done on time. Be proactive rather than reactive. Don't let it break first before you call someone. Just you wouldn't do it with your car. Your car needs maintaining. Needs an oil change and a filter change every so many miles. Same with compressors. It's hours more than miles. That's the sort of thing I would advise, and I would like to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say it is so much easier said than done. You just hit a pain point for me personally because my oil light will be on in the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, not today, or I have this, like, that's very inconvenient for this week, maybe next week. So it's somehow pairing that with reality.
Yeah. It's basically what humans do. I'll do it tomorrow rather than today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where these poor compressed air systems, I mean, for me, if my car breaks down, then I can't go anywhere, but it's really the same for the factories. if their compressor system does shut down, a lot of them can't produce anything.
No.
Yeah, like they're completely shut down. That's all their employees out for the day while they, figure that out. Shipments not going out. So both do have a pretty severe consequence for ignoring them.
Yeah.
But it's it's not a headache or urgent until it is, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how we change human nature on a 20-minute coffee call, but maybe we can help a little bit.
like kids with Wi-Fi. If Wi-Fi is gone, it's a disaster.
Yeah. Yes.
What's going on? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, I know. We're so connected and disconnected at the same time. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny. So before we wrap up, we are at the 20 minutes already, but I have one last question. Just what are your plans? Where is Smart Compressors headed? And just what are you building towards next chapter kind of thing for you?
Got some new products coming out.
Okay.
New compressor ranges, which we're quite eager to promote, which is good. We've got a new van, and we're going to have it liveried up and nice new graphics, be a good advert for us. And onwards to making new customers and carrying on with our customers we have already. So onwards and upwards, basically.
I love that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's very nice. And I know you get to work with Mel.
Yeah.
So that's well, for anyone who didn't see that episode, your wife, and you get to work together in compressed air. I love it so much being able to, because it is a demanding.
Yeah, we're a great team. She's very good at what she does. Yeah.
That's amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
And for being on today. And if anybody has any questions, we can be in the comments and you can reach out to Graeme or myself directly. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.